welcome back to the McDonald Chronicles. Today we are going to talk all about ways to find time to read as a mom. All right, so I don't know about any of you. I'm a newer mom. My daughter is just one. And I thought that when I became a mom, my reading life was basically over. And it has been far from that. So last year was actually the year that I read the most books I've read in years. And that was pretty much my first full year of being a mom. So definitely learned some things along the way. It's 100% not perfect. Some days I read, some days I don't. I definitely don't read every day. Some months I read 10 books, some months I read 2. But I definitely think that if you were a reader before you became a mom and you missed that part of yourself, it's definitely not impossible, and you can certainly be a reader and be a mom at the same time. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. So grab your favorite tea, favorite coffee, let's have a chat. All right, number 1 is put reading apps on your phone. So I know it seems kind of counterproductive, and I'm sure a lot of people have said to you, get off your phone, pick up a book, but there are times when you're just gonna have your phone on you and that's gonna be the best time to read. I mean, I don't know a single person who goes to the bathroom without their phone anymore. Literally everyone does. When you're waiting in line at the grocery store, if you have no one else you're looking after, when you're waiting in line for anything, and you have your phone and you would be mindlessly scrolling social media, put a book app on your phone. Whatever book app you want, Apple Books, Kindle. I personally have the Kindle app on my phone, and I always have a book loaded up on there. I'm usually reading a Kindle book and a physical book at the same time. So always have some sort of reading app on your phone, and you will double the amount of reading that you do almost immediately. Every time that you find yourself going to pick up your phone to scroll social media, you'll end up picking up your phone and reading a book instead. So definitely recommend putting some sort of reading app on your phone. All right, number 2, audiobooks count. I know in recent years, audiobooks have become very popular, but there are, of course, some naysayers who will say that listening to an audiobook does not count as reading. It certainly does. It 100% does. So if all you have time for right now is popping in some headphones while you're running around the house and doing everything that you do as a parent, listen to an audiobook. On your way to work, listen to an audiobook. While you're doing the laundry, listen to an audiobook. Sometimes I'll literally just sit in bed and listen to an audiobook because I might be too tired to physically read a book, but listening to one just feels better. Or if I'm getting ready, I'll listen to an audiobook. Audiobooks are a lot more accessible now than they used to be. I know you can get them on Spotify, which is where I listen to them. Like I said, I usually have a Kindle book, a physical book. I still have an audiobook going. So Spotify gives you, I think, 15 hours a month to read an audiobook. Some of them are locked, but there's so many good audiobooks on there that 15 hours, one audiobook a month, that's plenty for an audiobook. And I'm sure between a month, you can find 15 hours to read it, or if it takes you 2 months, that's fine too. I know a lot of people use Audible. Your library has audiobooks. The availability is not always there, but I know my library has a ton of audiobooks, all completely free. So definitely recommend checking that out. Audiobooks are a great way as a mom, dad, parent, or even just someone who's really busy to get some reading in. The third one is the one that honestly helped me the most, and it was reading before bed. When I first became a mom, once my daughter was asleep, I was asleep. Especially those first few weeks, when she's sleeping, I was sleeping. That's literally how it went, and highly recommend because you're exhausted. But as she got a little bit older, I would start just reading before bed, and honestly, some nights it was 2 pages. Literally 2 pages, and I was like, I'm exhausted. I cannot read anymore. I'm going to bed. And that's fine. But I slowly developed this habit where every night now, instead of aimlessly scrolling or watching a show that I don't really want to watch, I'm reading. And I feel like that has made the biggest difference in the amount of books that I read, because if you're reading before bed every night, sometimes it's 10 pages. Sometimes I will read 40 pages, 50 pages. There also are nights where I will read way too many pages and be up too late because the book is just so good. But for the most part, definitely recommend reading before bed, starting the habit. Again, 5 minutes, that's 5 minutes of reading. By the end of the week, you read an extra half hour that you didn't have before. So this is the one that I think made the most difference for me as a new mom. And then on the flip side of that, the next one, tip number 4, is to wake up a little bit earlier. So I've tried to be one of those people that wakes up super, super early. For some people it works, for some people it doesn't. But I think even, like I said, with going to bed and reading 5 minutes before bed, maybe you wake up 10 minutes earlier than usual and you have 10 minutes of time to read by yourself. Obviously, in a perfect world, I wake up, I have a coffee, I'm sitting on my patio, I'm reading this beautiful book, no one is awake, it's peaceful, the sun is rising, it's like so picturesque, right? That's a perfect world. In reality, I'm reading with my lamp, trying not to wake up my husband, 5 minutes before everyone else wakes up. So that's another great way if maybe you're just like, you know what, nighttime is not for me. I have a whole routine. I like to watch a show. I'm not going to read before bed. Maybe you want to wake up 5 minutes earlier, 10 minutes earlier, and read before everyone else. It's kind of a nice way too for you to get some time to yourself to like zen out before the hustle and bustle of your day starts, for sure. Number 5 is independent playtime. So when I first became a mom, and as they're younger, of course, you have to watch them like a hawk. But I really thought it was my responsibility to entertain my daughter 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's really not the case. And I think that's a hard lesson for new parents like myself to learn, because I was just like thinking I had to entertain her all hours of the day. There have been plenty of times where she'll play next to me by herself, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. Obviously, I'm still watching her and making sure she's not sticking anything in her mouth, and I'm making sure that she's safe. But there have been times where she wants to just hang out in like her playpen thing for 10 minutes and play by herself. Cool. Maybe I'll read a book during that time and I'll read 5 pages. So I think utilizing independent playtime to read also is a really great idea, as long as you're obviously keeping an eye on them and you know that your kids are safe, which I know you all are. That's a great time as well to pick up a book. All right, the next one is join a book club, which I know you might be thinking, I don't have time to read. Gianna, why are you telling me to join a book club? I certainly don't have time for that. Hear me out. Most book clubs meet only once a month. I know I have a book club. I'm in 2 book clubs right now. Both of them meet once a month. And if I don't go because I have a conflict, it's fine. No one's kicking me out of the book club. Obviously, I try and go as much as possible, but it happens, life happens. Especially when you're in a book club where people are busy and might have kids or have busy lives, they're understanding if you don't go to every single one. So join a book club that's kind of maybe casual, maybe it's with people you know, maybe you have other mom friends that you are readers too and you want to make a book club with them. Maybe your local library has book clubs. I know that's one of the book clubs I manage with my local library, and it's a lot of fun. It's a nice way to read books that maybe you wouldn't have chosen for yourself, and it's also a way to almost force you to read a book without it feeling like school, because you're in a book club with people that read books probably along the same genres that you like to read, or at least have some similar characteristics, where they're not going to pick a book out of left field that you totally hate. Might be something that you didn't pick for yourself, but you're probably not going to hate it. And if you do, then you learn something about yourself as a reader. But you're going to want to read the book so you can add to the conversations. And honestly, a lot of book clubs, it's not just like talk about the book for an hour. Like I said, I'm in 2. One of them we talk about the book most of the time. One of them we don't. We talk about the book for like 10 minutes, and then we just talk. So not only is it a great way for you to almost make yourself read because you've got a book that you want to read for the book club and you want to participate, but it's a good way for you to like get out of the house, have some grown-up time. Definitely think it's another way to get yourself reading as a parent. And like if you're in one book club and they meet every month, that's basically a guarantee that you're going to read 12 books a year. That's a lot more books than most people read. Like if you read a book a month, I think that's great, especially if you were a reader and you've fallen off and you want to get back into reading and maybe you haven't read a book in months. 12 books a year, that's solid. All right, the next one, not really along the lines of finding time, but at least helping you get motivated to read, is start a TBR or a list of books that you like get you so excited about reading. You want to pick up a book and be like, oh my gosh, I cannot wait to read this. Like once I put the kids to bed, once like everything is good to go, I am going to just devour this book. That's what you want to find. And sometimes it takes you a little bit longer to find that. And of course, we all go through reading slumps where there have been, like I said, months where I read 10 books, one after the other. And then there are months where I read 2 because I just couldn't find anything that really interested me. But the months that I just have stacks and stacks of books that I want to read, or a list of books that I can't wait to get my hands on, those are always the months that I find the time to read because I'm excited about it. And you don't have to, go to a bookstore and spend hundreds of dollars on books. Go to your library. Most libraries, you can take out 50 books. I'm not saying you have to take out 50. That's obnoxious. Not everyone is like me. But you can take out, you get what I'm saying? You can take out a dozen books that look interesting to you that you really want to read, put them in a stack next to your bed, and you'll want to read them because you're so excited about reading it. Or when you go to the bookstore, take a picture. I always, when I'm in the bookstore, I'm just like taking pictures of book covers to see which books interest me, and I'll read about them later. Even in Target, take a picture of the books that you want to read. Buy a book if you want to, or be like, okay, I love that book, gonna look for it on audio. Just make a list for yourself. Goodreads is a great place. I know a lot of people keep lists, a lot of people keep physical stacks of books they want to read. I have a Goodreads. I know a lot of people who have Goodreads, and to me, that's a great place to keep a want to read list. It's all in one place, and I know that if I'm like, what am I going to read next? I just go on my want to read, and I've got a huge list there of books that I can look at. All right, these next two kind of go together a little bit. The next one, number 8, is putting systems in place in your home. So I'm not an expert on productivity at all, but I do find that when I have a system in place in my house, it opens up time for other things. So what I mean by that is, for example, at night, my husband runs the dishwasher every night. He's in charge of like loading and running the dishwasher. The next morning when my daughter's eating breakfast, I unload it. It's an empty dishwasher. We fill it throughout the day. It seems so silly and like something that's going to take 2 minutes, but the time that it takes him to load it at night and then me to unload it in the morning, and the fact that we have an empty dishwasher throughout the day and can just fill it up, that's time that I get back. So if it's like a weekend and she's napping, I don't have to worry about loading up the dishwasher or emptying the dishwasher in the middle of the day. I can sit down and read a book because that's been done already. It's been loaded, it's been unloaded, we've been loading it throughout the day, it's fine. Another one that helps a lot too is the same thing with the laundry. And also, I'm not perfect. I have a laundry basket full of laundry that needs to be folded right now, so please, real life. In an ideal world, we put a load of laundry in at night, we switch it over in the morning, and then before I go to bed, we're folding the laundry. Like things like that. Just little things that free up little pieces of your day. You might think to yourself, yeah, I'm only going to get 5 minutes. But let's say you do 3 things that get you 5 minutes back. That's 15 minutes. You don't need an hour to read a book. Like, you don't need to sit down every day for an hour. Would that be awesome? Yeah, I would love to read every day for an hour. Is that realistic in the season of life I'm in right now? No, it's not. But 15 minutes? Yeah, great. I can read for 15 minutes every day, and I would be very happy with that. Just think about little things you can do, people you can enlist, and things that maybe you can let go. Maybe your house isn't going to be sparkling clean all the time. Maybe one night a week you have takeout. Maybe you have breakfast for dinner one night. Like, maybe you have a crock pot meal twice a week. Like, I don't know, whatever works for you to give you some time back as a parent. I think there's way too much judgment about people having to do everything and be perfect and whatever. Let it go. It's just put some systems in place that help you and help your family, like, just feel like you can do that. Again, I'm not the person for that. There are plenty of other people who know a lot of systems, but I find that doing things that get me back 5 minutes throughout the day make a big difference on me being able to then read when my daughter is napping instead of having to run around and do all those things. Number 9 is figure out why you feel guilty about reading. This was a big one for me to figure out, especially as a newer mom. When I found a spare moment in the day, maybe it was after work or on the weekends, I was like, okay, I have a spare moment. My daughter's napping. Let me look at my to-do list. Should I be scrubbing the grout? Should I be making bread? Should I be hand sewing a dress? I don't know. Should I be just doing a bunch of other things, right? The list is never ending. We're always going to have things to do. That's just what comes with being a parent and having a home. There's always things to do. Even like my husband and I share responsibilities like 50-50. Like, it's not like I'm running around cleaning everything. Like, that's definitely not what's happening here. And I always have things to do, even though I have only 50% of the responsibility. So I realized that if I sat down during her nap for 20 minutes to read, instead of folding a load of laundry, I would feel guilty. I was like, I can't sit here and read this book. I have laundry to fold. Ugh. No, I quickly let that go. Figure out why you feel guilty about it. Like, is it because maybe if you don't fold the laundry, someone else is going to have to fold the laundry? All right. Is there another point in your day where you can fold the laundry? I fold my laundry with my daughter. She thinks it's hilarious. So, maybe that's something that you can work into your day. Maybe you don't have to do everything when they're napping. Maybe there are a lot of things you can do when they're awake and they can help you. Will it take longer? Sure. Will they think it's awesome? Yes. So figure out, why you're feeling guilty about taking 15, 20 minutes for yourself. And then you might have to work through that. But I think knowing that it's okay for you, especially as a parent, when you're constantly giving to, another human, it's okay for you to take 20 minutes to yourself if you want to read a book. The world will continue. Number 10, the last tip I have for how to get back into reading as a parent is read with your family. So obviously, like I said, my daughter is younger, so I'm not reading, Lord of the Rings with her right now. But I think developing that habit of being a reading family, which I definitely plan on doing some more videos about, so make sure you are subscribed for that. Being a reading family, I think, is a lifestyle, and I think the more that you put in the work to be a reading family, the more you as a parent can take time to read, because it will be a natural part of your day, right? If even now, like as a 1-year-old, she'll sit down next to me and she'll look through her books for like 2 or 3 minutes. She's not reading them, she's looking at them, but she's doing that. And then I'm also able to read maybe 1 or 2 pages. Also, like going to the library, like that's a big deal, because she gets to pick out books, I get to pick out books, my husband gets to pick out books. So we like doing things like that, going to book places as a family. So I think the more you can read with your family, the more you can include your family in your reading life, I think the easier it will be for you to continue to read as a parent. I hope that was helpful. I mean, definitely know that if you're struggling to incorporate reading in your life, especially if you're a newer parent or you have multiple kids, especially if you're working or like whatever it is, don't feel guilty about the fact that you haven't fit time into reading. This is definitely not another thing for you to feel guilty about. Just know that you do deserve 10, 15, 20 minutes of your day to yourself. So if reading is something you want to get back into, I hope these 10 tips were helpful for you. Leave a comment down below and things that you have tried as a parent that help you make time for reading. Let me know what you're reading now. I love new book recommendations, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on my wrap-ups, my TBR videos, reading blogs, book hauls, all of that stuff, and definitely more tips on how to be a reading family coming soon. So hope you got something out of this. Looking forward to hearing all of your reads down in the comments below, and see you next time. Cheers.